After a week of violent storms along the east coast, at least 4 more people have been treated by paramedics after lightning struck 2 properties on the Gold Coast. 75,000 lightning strikes were recorded in Brisbane in the last 24 hours.
And the wild weather continues today, but this time in Victoria with a severe weather warning in place for much of the state.
Yeah, for more on this, we're joined by Sunrise correspondent Nathan Templeton. Nathan, what can Victoria expect?
Well, Larry and Sammy, good morning. As you can see, the rain and very strong wind has well and truly arrived. The temperature has also dropped incredibly quickly. It was a really warm morning here. It's about 26 degrees at 6 a.m, but it's now plummeted down to about 16. About half of Victoria has been issued with a severe weather warning, mostly in the west of the state. That includes Geelong, Ballarat, right up to Horsham, and also in the city. We're expecting heavy rain to continue and damaging winds. So emergency services, who had an absolutely horrible time of it during the winter and spring, will no doubt be busy again today. So just when we thought summer had finally arrived here, think again. This is classic Victoria. Beautiful one day, pretty awful the next. Sammy and Larry.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thanks, Nathan. I think we've seen that on a poster somewhere. All right, Ben Cousins is set to find out today if he'll spend Christmas behind bars after allegedly breaching a violence restraining order.
For more on this, we're joined by 7 News and Sports presenter Ryan Thielen.
Morning, Sam.
Morning,
Larry.
What's the latest on this one?
Yeah, look, it's an ongoing saga with Ben Cousins, isn't it? This is the latest indiscretion is for breaching an apprehended violence order which has been issued between he and his former partner, Mylea Tynecliffe. Now, Cousins fronted court yesterday explaining to the magistrate that it was actually his wife, not he, who breached the AVO. He was dropping a car off at his former partner's property. When he did that, the kids ran out and they went across the road and played in the park, and then his former partner came across the road to join them, and therein was the breach of the AVO, according to Cousins. But the magistrate wasn't copping that. She wants to hear from Mylea Tynecliffe herself, which they will do today. So those charges regarding to the bail application will be heard today, but he's facing 6 other charges, which include methamphetamine possession, breaching bail, and also 3 counts of breaching an AVO. So those other charges will be heard next Tuesday. So it's a very worrying time for Ben Cousins, 38 years of age, of course, an AFL champion, and there is every chance that he could spend this Christmas behind bars facing a range of charges.
In other news from the sporting world, Yolanda Dockitch is writing a tell-all. Apparently not going to be very nice with what she's got to say about Dad.
Demir, well, I don't think too many people would have nice things to say about Demir, would they? Because she was really a prodigy as far as tennis was concerned. She rose to number 4 in the world. She was a Wimbledon quarter-finalist at just 16 years of age when she beat the world number 1 Martina Hingis at the time. But the wheels just fell off her tennis career, and it was largely because of her father, Demir Dockitch, and his behaviour at various tennis tournaments. He was warned off the ATP Tour and various tournaments over his time. She retired from tennis for a while, then she came back again. Of course, she had the time where she was playing for Australia, then she was playing for Serbia, then she was back playing for Australia again. So what she's saying in her book is that the problems with her father weren't necessarily tennis related, but her getting involved with her personal life, whether it be boyfriends and the things like that, and that's where their clashes certainly arose from. But she's taken, obviously, the last 2 years, well, she retired 2 years ago, and she's been penning these memoirs, so they certainly will be interesting when they come out.
Speaking of controversial sporting figures, Bernard Tomic had a swipe at the media?
Yeah, well, he says that he's being unfairly grouped with Nick Kyrgios and targeted by the media in that respect, saying that they're bad boys. He says that they're sometimes a little misunderstood. Let's hear from Bernard Tomic and what he had to say about the way the media treats him.
You know, they misunderstand us. We are young, we are successful, and it sort of turns a bit of negative energy if we do small things wrong.
Yeah, so Bernard Tomic, he's aiming up at the Brisbane International, which will kick off his 2017 season. Nick Kyrgios will be at the Hutton Cup. He's facing a ban from the ATP Tour at the moment for tanking in a game. So I agree with Bernard Tomic. He's sometimes unfairly grouped in with Nick Kyrgios, but at the end of the day, as tennis fans, as Australians, we want to see these guys being in the media for the right reasons, not the wrong reasons, which is often bad behaviour.
Because there have been some dodgy headlines of late. Samantha Jade, are you a sporting person? do you play sport? Is there anything we need to know about you?
Look, when I was in school and they were choosing the teams, I was always the last kid. No one would choose me. And then they'd give me to a team and everyone go, no, take it back.
And look at you now.
Yeah.
And look at you now.
Guys. Now, there are questions this morning about whether Prince Harry breached royal protocol when he diverted a plane to visit his new girlfriend.
Of course you would.
Yeah.
Europe correspondent Kath Turner is in London. Kath, what's the latest on this one?
Good morning, Larry and Sammy. Yes, Prince Harry's latest trip has caused a little bit of controversy, although you wouldn't know it judging by his demeanour today. He turned up at a charity event here in London where he was playing stockbroker. He was at a trading firm and he was helping to close some of the deals. A lot of celebrities do this to raise money for charities. He was very jovial the entire time. He was making jokes. He was very relaxed and had a big smile on his face. We now know why he had that smile on his face. He apparently had spent the previous 48 hours with his girlfriend Meghan Markle. This was not a scheduled stop. Prince Harry has been in the Caribbean for the past 2 weeks on official royal duties, representing his grandmother, the Queen, at a number of ceremonies and anniversary celebrations in the region. He was supposed to go from Barbados to London on Sunday night, but instead he decided to take a 2,700-kilometre detour, and instead he flew to Toronto, to Canada, where his American actress girlfriend, Meghan Markle, is filming the show Suits. This would have taken a little bit of advanced planning. Harry travels full-time with bodyguards, but obviously they made it happen. The Daily Mail has a photograph of what it says is Prince Harry's car parked outside Meghan's apartment. Apparently, a man wearing a black hooded jacket made a mad dash for the car and then sped off to the airport. Witnesses say they believe that this was Prince Harry after having a weekend loved up with his girlfriend. This seems to be a breach of Buckingham Palace protocol. Members of the royal family are discouraged from mixing any official business with personal matters because these trips are funded by taxpayers. So who's going to pick up the bill? Well, that's not clear. There has been some suggestion that Prince Harry will have to reimburse the taxpayer for the cost of his flights from Barbados to Toronto and Toronto to London. That may be the case. We don't know, of course, what's going to be said behind closed doors at Kensington or Buckingham Palace. But judging by his appearance today, Prince Harry really isn't fussed at all, was showing no remorse, made no mention of the fact that he just spent the weekend with his girlfriend, who he hadn't seen in 3 weeks. It's clear he had one goal, and that was to spend some time with his new girlfriend. Back to you guys.
It's wrong. Thanks, Kath. It's wrong. It's just not right. Using all that taxpayers' money to go and see your girlfriend for a patch.
I think she'd be very happy.
I think she'd be good.
Yeah.
I think it's all right. All the convicts think it's okay.
Russell Crowe has been cleared of charges over an alleged assault against US rapper Azalea Banks.
Yeah, for more on this, we're joined by entertainment reporter Peter Ford. Pete, good morning to you. It was confirmed that Russell did forcibly remove her from his party. So why was he cleared of these charges then?
Well, of course, Azalea Banks was there as a guest of RZA. She was like the +1. She wasn't actually invited to Russell's pizza party at the Beverly Hills Hotel. And we know that something ugly happened. That was never denied. And we also knew from day one that Russell told her to get out and encouraged her to get out. Now, she went on to claim that she was spat on, there was racial abuse, etc., etc. Now, the accusations, as is the nature of the game, got a lot of attention, so it's very, very important that we do now bring you up to date with what has happened. That whole thing was investigated very thoroughly, and it's now being decided by the district attorney that no charges need to be laid. There was a threat, an intimidation of violence by Azalea Banks, and therefore Russell Crowe was quite entitled to grab her by the arm and to tell her to get out of his party. So that's the end of that matter.
Wow.
Now, you know how I promised you we will always do something about the Kardashians and all the Beckhams?
You did say that.
Here we go. 11-year-old Cruz Beckham, Pete. His Christmas song, soon to be released, but he's given us a sort of a little preview, right?
Yeah, well, we touched upon this yesterday. This is the opportunity, big chance to get to #1 in England at Christmas time. And he's got Scooter Braun, who's the manager for Justin Bieber, managing him. And it's already raised a few eyebrows. Piers Morgan really went to town on breakfast TV in England England last night, our time. But now the young kid, he's 11 years old. What we don't want to do is fall into exactly what I fear for him, and that is the people being negative and sending him up. He's 11 years old, and the song, it sounds okay to me. It is what it is. But on breakfast radio in England, on Capital FM, last night, our time, he gave a little sample of it, a little a cappella version of it, and it seems to me he can belt out a tune reasonably well. You'll be a much better judge, Sammy. Have a look at this.
Every day was Christmas, and I can be with you. Underneath the mistletoe, kiss you when nobody knows.
Cruz, you got such a cute voice.
So there you go. Will he get to number one for Christmas?
Will
Cruz
he?
Beckham.
Will he? What do you think?
Maybe. I mean, Scooter Braun is the man. He manages Justin, Ariana.
Right.
A lot of
So
people.
little Cruz has got everything he needs to succeed. He's got
He
Scooter
does.
Braun and great hair.
Great hair.
Great hair. But that's hard to do. Like sit in a radio station,
Oh,
no
yeah,
music, and
sing
just
a
and then someone
cappella.
says sing, right?
Yeah,
Well
he
done,
wasn't even
yeah.
there. That was on FaceTime or Skype or something. He was at home in LA, and in fact, David popped in the interview for a minute for a quick hello to the hosts back in England.
Okay. Hey, Pete, Johnny Depp's daughter is really making her mark on the fashion world.
Yeah, it's interesting. On the recent Paris catwalks, we've seen a lot of daughters of and sisters of on the catwalks, and certainly Lily Rose Depp, who is the daughter with Vanessa Paradis, obviously not with Amber Heard. And there she is. She looks gorgeous when talking about, you know, kids following their parents into the spotlight. Well, here was some perfect examples. Sophia Richie was also on the catwalk, Lionel Richie's daughter. Sistine Stallone, who is the daughter of Sylvester Stallone. So it went on. But yeah, Lily certainly looks like a beautiful young model.
All right. Pete, thank you very much for being here, part of television history, Samantha Jade's first morning show hosting.
I love it.
Thank you very much, mate. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
And welcome back. It was the tragic boating accident that cut short the lives of 3 people. In 2007, former Olympian ice skater Liz Kane lost her left leg when the boat she was on collided with another vessel. She would have drowned had it not been for her quick-thinking son, who saved her life.
Now, almost 10 years on, Liz is determined as ever, celebrating the festive season by creating a winter wonderland as an ode to her ice skating past.
Yeah, Liz and her husband Peter join us live on the couch. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Very
How are you?
Christmassy there. Liz, take us back to the time of the accident. What sort of memory do you have of the incident itself?
I actually don't have any memory of it, only in the morning when I was coaching, and then 4 days later when I came out of coma, and then my family telling me what had happened.
Right.
Wow. And Peter, you were also on the boat. And what do you remember? Do you remember more than...
A lot more, and unfortunately it's all written in my mind and burnt forevermore.
Yeah.
And the moments of sort of what was literally less than half a second feels like, you know, 3 hours.
Yeah, of
The way it's
course.
all spilt out in my mind, it's terrible.
So, Liz, out of the coma, family tells you what happened.
Yes.
What were those early days like as you realised that those profound changes to your life?
It took a little while, obviously, because I didn't really realise that I didn't have a left leg there anymore, so I would get up out of bed to go and walk to the bathroom and, you know, have an accident. So it did take a little while to adjust, but I think just having the love of my family and friends around me really, really helped me.
Yeah, and you're still skating and coaching now?
I'm coaching, definitely, yes. So I coach, just last week we were at the National Championships, and I had skaters at every level. Also I'm doing, which is called a technical specialist for the ISU, which is our big skating union, and we travel overseas and go on judging panels and identify all the technical moves that skaters do.
So clearly a huge physical triumph to get back in the game and be surrounded by that again, but that must mean a lot to you sort of emotionally and psychologically as well, make you feel strong about that.
Yeah, it took a while, but it was just, you know, having family there is so important, and that really got me through. And I think having my sport as my background really, really helped. I think that makes you more determined to say, right, that's it, I'm getting up and I'm going to do this.
Yes. Now, together you've created a winter wonderland for families to enjoy.
This is the good stuff.
Yeah, what was the inspiration there?
It actually came from an English theme called Winter Wonderland in London, and we then brought it back to Australia and decided we needed to make an Australian version of that. Thus, it's called Santaland.
Good.
And it's all focused on Santa. So everything Santa, because Santa is who delivers the magic for Christmas.
That's right.
Now, we have a choice here. We can either go for the whole interview and ignore that thing on your leg, or we can say to our audience,
let's address it.
or we can say, we acknowledge that there's someone sitting on your lap. And
So Elfin decided to come along because
Elfin?
because he's really cute, and all of the little people running around Santaland are all dressed as elves.
Yep.
Right.
So everyone's delivering the magic, and this little guy is our little mascot, and of course he's got skates on. What else?
What else?
Of course, of course.
This really is to emphasise family and getting families back together again, getting the kids off the phones and the tablets for a minute and enjoying what family and Christmas actually is all about.
That's right. So we just want people to come down and enjoy everything and experience it together. And it doesn't really matter what age you are, because there is something for everybody. For the younger kids, there's younger rides to go in, and of course the older kids can skate. And there's an ice slide, and there's lots to do. There's food, everything.
That's great. Well, before you got here today, that's how I intended to host the show. I was going to sit on Samantha's lap. But we figured now you've done it, it's your thing. It's done.
Thank you for doing that.
Great to see. Great to see you guys, and a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you as well.
Merry Christmas. And for more information on Liz and Peter's Winter Wonderland, head to our website. He's a former architect who's become an online sensation, all because of his ingenious work on Post-it notes.
Post-it notes. From the pitfalls of dating to cooking disasters, Chaz Hutton has made a name for himself by depicting life's daily struggles on sticky notes. Now the Melbourne-born London local has published a book, A Sticky Note Guide to Life, full of bite-sized comic illustrations that are sure to make you laugh.
Now, Sticky Note comic, Chaz Hutton joins us live. Hello.
Hey, Crazy Cat.
It's good to be here.
He was just saying this is the first time he's seen his sticky notes this big.
Yeah, I feel like they should never be seen this big. It should be always on a small scale.
Well, they could be that big, or we just could be really small.
Yeah, well, I am very short. But how did this all begin?
Look, mostly through procrastination. Sitting at work, sort of pretending to do work, and
just a career out of that.
You've done very well.
Yeah, just started sort of drawing these things and sending them to friends who convinced me to put them onto an Instagram.
Oh, great! Nice. Now, many of the comics focus on failing at being an adult. Was that your intention, or has it just sort of come around like that?
I think this is what the way they've been sort of looked at, and so. To me, I thought I was always just drawing, comics sort of was my life. I'm like, oh, okay. And then people started writing about them saying, oh, these depict how hard it is being an adult, which up until that point I didn't realise I was failing at.
Failing? Maybe not.
Well,
why do you think people do resonate with your cartoons?
Look, I don't know. I think they mostly sort of revolve around,
Real.
sort of the general things that you encounter day to day.
Yeah.
And they're on small post-it notes, which are easily recognisable. You can see them there. It's like, okay, I know that's.
Oh, this is great. So just rolling through them, there's some terrific stuff. Is it just life? Is it life? Is it when you wake up in the morning? Is it when you're in bed at night? Where's this stuff coming from?
Look, it's day-to-day stuff that you encounter every day. So, for instance, I knew I was going to meet you today, Mary, which sort of brought back childhood TV viewing memories. And then that coupled with, that crippling anxiety of being an adult, ended up in today's comic, which... here we go. The Life is Right. Oh, look at this.
That is all you. All you.
Just 5... Oh, you're right. So putting your life in order on the Price is Right showcase.
You made it. You made it to a sticky note.
You've made the Instagram. Well done.
Until now, the biggest thing in my life was co-hosting with Samantha Jade, but you've just been gazumped.
Thanks
a lot. That's sweet. Can I get a copy of that?
Yeah, you certainly can. Yeah.
You're a bit of an overnight sensation on social media, aren't you?
Yeah, it sort of it bounced up from I think about 6,000 to 60,000 followers.
Wow.
In a week.
Was that unexpected?
Yeah, I had to turn the notifications off on the phone. But it was quite unexpected at the time.
Yeah.
Sort of never
I just want to be that famous where I've got to turn my notifications off.
After this.
Yeah, you penned some of your best work in a book, right?
Yes.
So there's a sticky note guide to life.
Right, correct.
Which is very easy to consume.
Yes.
And it's tell us about it.
So there's each page is a comic. There's about 100 and something new comics that aren't on the Instagram. So
that's great.
There's a whole lot in there, and then there's captions under all of them as well, where I've sort of gone on a bit of a tangent. So there's some extra jokes in there as well.
Exciting.
Yeah, good stocking filler, really.
That's a good idea.
Especially for that cousin that you don't really know that well.
Oh, no, sorry.
all that.
No or like.
Yeah.
And what's next for you?
It's a great question, and I don't actually know the answer. I think I'll just keep drawing comics and we'll see what happens, really.
I think it's working. Yeah.
You've made a book out of post-it note doodles. Can you believe it? Is that like that's like a what?
Yeah, it is a bit of a what. You know, there's you sort of I don't question it too much, so just.
No, you've got to keep going.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for doing that Price is Right one.
No, that's fine.
That's a real thrill. You will be hearing from our lawyers because there's a whole lot of copyright issues. There's some copyright issues and imagery things.
Yeah, okay,
we'll get to that later. It's no point. I don't want to bog the interview down.
Then I'll do a talk about that.
Mate, congratulations. Love this a lot. The book looks fabulous and can't wait for the movie.
Well, maybe that's the next
an hour and a half of watching post-it notes fly off. Good stuff. Great to see you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. If you want to see more of Chaz's work, you can pick up a copy of his book, A Sticky Note Guide to Life. It's out right now.
Love it. Sorry, when that stylist over there was saying fix your hair, was she talking to me or you?
She's definitely talking to you.
All right, they're one of the most popular bands in the universe. Boyce Avenue have sold over 10 million singles and had 500 million streams to date. They're so popular, stars and celebs alike are lining up to work with them. Take a look.
I know it breaks your heart. Moved to the city and I broke down crying. 4 years, no calls. Now I'm looking pretty in a hotel bar. And I can't stop. No, I can't stop.
So they definitely know how to cover big hits, but the band is making waves with music of their own.
Now, before they embark on their national tour, Boyce Avenue are performing for us live today. Here they are with Be Somebody.
My head feels tangled up like the headphones in my pocket. 2 words and you got me, 2 nights and you told me that once the time is counting down, it's impossible to stop it. And 3 words that we need to save, 3 weeks till you move away. So go, go. Your heart has to be followed. Cause we've all got a dream. Gotta be somebody, be someone. Cause we've all got a dream. Gotta be somebody, be someone. So please, be somebody with me. Piles of magazines left from 2 months ago. I'm clinging to old news, memories I'm scared to lose. Now I find reminders down the sofa and under the bed. 3 words could have made you stay, 3 words that I left too late. So go. Your heart has to be followed. Cause we've all got a dream. Gotta be somebody, be someone. Cause we've all got a dream. Gotta be somebody, be someone. So please, be somebody with me. Ooh, if you feel like running, the grass is greener inside your heart, and I'll be there if it falls apart. Ooh, love who you're, be coming. Sometimes we win, but sometimes we fall. Your story still remains untold, so go. Your heart has to be followed. Cause we've all got a dream. Gotta be somebody, be someone. Cause we've all got a dream. Gotta be somebody and be someone. Cause we've all got a dream. Gotta be somebody and be someone. Cause we've all got a dream. Gotta be somebody and be someone. So please, be somebody with me.
That's information for Boyce Avenue. Just head across to our website. All the details are there for you guys.
And
awesome.
Boyce
Thank you
Avenue
so
here
much.
now. Hello, boys. Yeah,
That's
good
great.
to see you. I actually did Slime Fest with these boys
Yes.
2 years ago.
Yes, Slime Fest.
Yeah.
Is that what that green stuff is behind your ear?
That's
Still there?
what my hair's covering. Yeah, that's right.
Good stuff.
Your success started online. Do you reckon anyone can kind of do that now?
I think anyone with a dream and a passion and drive can find success online.
Yeah.
What if I don't have dream, passion, or a drive? Can I still give it a solid crack?
Yeah.
Still give it
turn the camera off.
Now, you recently made headlines for partnering up with Modern Family star Sarah Hyland. That was terrific. Any Aussie stars that you're looking around with, thinking?
Well, you know, we haven't worked with Samantha yet. So.
Oh, good.
You've only been slimed with her.
Yeah. That was hard, wasn't it?
It was.
That was
fun,
hardcore. Bad for
What about you? Would you team up with the guys, or?
Of course.
What are you charging? What's the hourly rate now for you to team up with?
It's very high. I don't know if you can afford me. No, I'd love to. That would be so much fun. And this is your first standalone Australian tour. Where are you most excited to go? And don't say Sydney.
Yeah.
Because everyone says as much I love Sydney.
Yeah.
Where else?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we love playing Melbourne. We've played Melbourne before.
Okay. What about Perth? I'm from Perth.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
Actually, this is the first time we've done 2 headline tours here before, and this is the first time we're getting to stop over in Adelaide. So we've never
Adelaide's great.
Great.
We love Adelaide.
And the good news, guys, you can save a heap of money in Perth because you can just stay with your family.
Just stay with my family.
Get the futons
My dad
out.
cooks really good curry. So
Is that right?
We'll stay out of the kitchen now.
No, you don't want to. Have you seen her
do
work
not
in the
bring that up
kitchen?
again.
Yeah. Great to see you guys. Real treat for us today. Thank you very much.
4 years ago, her life spiralled into despair without warning, but instead of giving up, Kath Koshal found a way to see all that is good in the world.
Yes, she did. Recently, she told the Daily Edition about the journey that led her to establishing the Kindness Factory.
Basically, we're on a mission to achieve 1 million acts of kindness by the year 2020, and I can't do that alone. I'm reliant on my community and the people that follow me and everything like that to log their acts on our website. So collectively, I think it's going to make the world a much more positive place and a beautiful place.
But before creating the movement, the former elite cricketer had broken her back twice, ending her career, and this came after she was touched by tragedy. Her boyfriend and his mother both took their own lives.
Kath then set out to bring her life back into balance, armed with only a backpack, a toothbrush, an empty water bottle and no cash at all. Remarkably, she was on the receiving end of an enormous amount of goodwill, and we're about to find out how that all worked.
Kath joins us now. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Great to see you.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
Wow.
That's a good opening statement. See, we don't even have to ask you anything. We just sit here and look at you and go, you're amazing.
You are amazing. No, you are, really.
Thank you.
How do you look back on those life-altering experiences?
Yeah, it's really hard to look back. I think I've always sort of seen my life as just one thing after another, and it's just something that I've continuously had to work on. But to look back now, I mean, it's hard to be anything but grateful, I guess. I've had amazing people around me, and that's what this movement was sort of created. It was inspired by the goodness of other people who never let me once give up, and you know, that's why it's so incredible. I think it just sort of shows that together we can achieve anything.
Yeah.
Many of our viewers would be able to relate to the part of the story that finds you in a dark place and not knowing which way's out, and can you see the light at the end of the tunnel and all of that. What made you decide then that kindness was the way out?
Well, I guess, like, for me, I started really small. I rang my doctors who had sort of saved my life and helped me to learn how to walk again and got me through everything. And I just sort of said thanks, and I felt really good about myself. And then that enabled me to sort of see the good in the world and the goodness that had surrounded me in my recovery. Yeah. And from there, I guess I just sort of thought, well, if I can come back from all these adversities, you know, all the things that I've been through, breaking my back twice and losing my partner the way that I did, then maybe ordinary and everyday people, not that I'm not ordinary or an everyday person, but maybe that all of us can learn from that lesson, and maybe kindness can touch us in all different ways and it can make a difference in the world. So that's what it's all about. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's really inspiring, because a lot of people wouldn't, you know, be able to look at it that way. So that's amazing. A few months ago, you set out on a 10-day journey to prove that people are willing to help. So what's all that about? Talk us through it.
Well, it was the best 10 days of my life. I think this time, about 12 months ago, I was hit by a car and I got caught up in the legal process of all that. And I guess it just questioned my belief system. You know, why do we have to go through court battles and things like that? It was no one's fault. It was just an accident that happened. And I sort of set out to prove that good people do exist. And I travelled all around Australia. I had no cash, credit card, I had no food, accommodation or anything. I was well looked after. I met some amazing people. There were so many good people that reached out to help me with, you know, the finance side of it, the advice around it. One man flew me to Melbourne just to have a 20-minute coffee with me and just to share some of his life with me, and it was just, it was a remarkable journey that I was on, so it was just incredible.
We love having people like you on the show. It breaks the mould, and we all have to then start to rethink everything, you know, recalibrate all our thinking about everything when we meet people like you. You're aiming to have ordinary people log on and do 1 million acts of kindness by 2020. It's a big call. It's a big call. That's a lot of kindness. How's it going to work? How many so far?
So far we've got about 400 logged acts on our website, and just simply through exposure like this and the show that I did last time, and me just getting out there. I do a lot of talking, corporate speaking, in schools a lot, and I just go and approach random strangers and share my experiences with them, and then they jump on board and they do it for me as well. So we're growing larger and larger, and everyone's just jumping on board, and I think it's the feeling that you get from giving. Most of the time it's just as good as receiving. So
it is, or better.
Yeah, it's just about changing mindsets.
So just so everybody understands here, this isn't going and building a house for people. This can just be something beautiful that takes 30 seconds in the street, right?
Yeah, I mean, I lost my partner 4 years ago, and one of his biggest things was that you can't smile at a stranger without them smiling back. It's impossible to smile at someone and not have them smile. Sometimes it's as simple as that, maybe buying someone a coffee or saying g'day. Like, it doesn't have to be building, a church, as you said, or going out and breaking, you know, huge, like, financial burdens or anything like that. It's just really simple stuff.
I love that.
I let Samantha Jade park her Winnebago where I usually park today. Is that a random act of kindness?
Do it.
All right,
Do it for sure. Log that one.
I'm done.
Yeah, you're in.
You know, amazing, terrific to meet you, seriously.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, love it. And good luck with all of that.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, we have something here for you. Rod. Jingle bells, jingle bells. This is we're presenting this all week to the people in the spirit of Christmas, who we believe through pretty much random acts and selflessness are defining the spirit of Christmas, and you certainly are doing.
It's amazing. We'll take pride and praise on my mantelpiece.
All right, that better be true. We're going to send someone around to check that.
And a photo of it.
Excellent.
Great to see you. Continued success with that. 1 million by 2020. You can do it. If anyone can, you can.
Okay, and finally, the billionaire socialite known as Catwoman has been arrested?
What?
Yeah, Jocelyn Wildenstein. She's now 76 years old. Her name has sort of gone into the public vernacular. Sometimes friends of mine go off to have little touch-ups, and I say, don't go all Jocelyn on me. Anyway, she's actually got into an altercation, a very nasty altercation, with her boyfriend, and she actually got a pair of scissors, slashed his chest, she scratched his face. In the end, he locked her up in the cupboard, in the closet, till the cops were called. So, not a pretty sight at all. I mean, not a pretty sight at all, is it? But she, you know, she did take it too far. Put it that way.
Yeah, all right.
That's a little too far.
Yeah, thank you, Pete. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you. The extremely talented Samantha Jade will soon be singing with the extremely Ryan Phelan. So don't go away. It's coming up, and it's going to be great. The BBC, meanwhile, is disputing Sir Cliff Richard's compensation claim for the coverage of a police raid on his home. That was about 2 years ago.
For more, we're joined by entertainment reporter Peter Ford.
Yeah, well, it was 2 years ago, and it was a live coverage of a raid on Sir Cliff Richard's house. Now, we know all that played out for all that period of time. We know that there's no longer a case that's being investigated. Those claims have been dismissed. So Sir Cliff wants some sort of compensation. Now, he's angry with the South Yorkshire cops, and he's angry with the BBC. He filed this case against the BBC for £1.5 million. They have hit back and said, we are not paying a penny. We're covering a legitimate news story. Yes, the police cooperated with us, but we believe it was in the public interest. Now, in the documents they've filed in the courtroom, they've actually detailed the conversations between the police and the BBC reporters and production staff, which is a really dicey area in itself, where you're talking about journalists disclosing conversations and sources, but the BBC being adamant they are not going to pay anything.
Pete, Johnny Depp may not be too thrilled about his latest honour. What's with that?
Second year running, the most overpaid actor in Hollywood. Now, this is done by Forbes magazine. They go back and they look at the amount of money that actors are paid to be in a movie and the amount of money those movies actually go on to make to come up with the list of how much producers are getting the bang for their buck. And last year, Johnny Depp topped the list. This year again, Alice in Wonderland, as you can see there, was a big flop. They do think that these results also probably were done before the worst of the publicity to do with the split with Amber Heard. So next year he may well be top of the list again. It's certainly, he's in good company though. Will Smith is in the top 5, George Clooney's in the top 5, Channing Tatum. So a lot of big name people, but not necessarily people who are having great box office success.
Did you know that Samantha Jade has got one of the finest voices in Australia, if not in the world?
It goes without saying.
And you, we think, are one of the finest performers in the network. So, without further delay, there you go. Let me take that. Let me swap your notes. Let me swap your news credibility notes.
Can you guarantee my future employment on this program?
Beg your pardon?
Can you guarantee my future employment on this program?
I can't even guarantee my future employment on this program.
But this might be a new
ladies and gentlemen, this is the Morning Show Christmas treat. Samantha Jade and Ryan Phelan.
Multiplying, and I lose control for the power you're supplying. It's electrifying.
You look really good. Wow. You better shape up, 'cause I need a man. And my heart is set on you. You better shape up. You better understand. Do your shoulders. To my heart, I must be true. Nothing left for me to do. You're the one that wants you to this. You are the one I want. The one that I want. You are the one I want. You are the one I want. The one I need. Take you. Oh, yes, indeed. That is a high note.
Thank you.
This is Danny Zucker right
Yes, we will be back right after that. That was great, guys. Well done.
Finest achievement of my career.